Hello everybody, Wild Bill for America here, and this video may be the most important I've ever done. I'm going to do several videos about Swastikas rising as a warning about how the Christian church in America is marching down the same path that Christian churches did in 1939 Germany when Adolf Hitler was rising to power. The parallels between Germany transforming into Nazi Germany and the USA transforming into something similar are surprisingly alike. Eric Metaxas, in his new book, Letter to the American Church, lays out the case. Please do two things. One, get this book and give it a good read. And two, follow me on Rumble, because I guarantee you, YouTube will shut down the videos that I am planning to post to warn about the rising swastikas of the Democrat Party. Now, those of us who have a working knowledge of both the scriptures and history have been sounding the alarm on this for years, and now it's getting serious. It was the silence of the German churches that allowed Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party to rise to power. Back in the 1930s, the churches had no idea of the nightmare that their silence would unleash on the world. Today, in the 21st century, we can look back at World War II and know what happens when Nazism is allowed to come to power. And in the next few videos, I'm going to expose how the left, by means of the Democrat Party, are deliberately following the same tactics that Adolf Hitler used to establish the Third Reich. The Democrat Party is hell-bent on establishing a dictatorship in the USA that will stomp out the Bill of Rights. In particular, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and freedom of the press. Which brings me to the most brazen act of Nazism in recent history: the arrest, imprisonment, and torture of Americans who went to the Capitol building on January 6th to protest Joe Biden stealing the 2020 election through massive and not at all subtle voter fraud, known as the January 6th incident. The Democrats knew the Americans were coming to the Capitol building, and Nancy Pelosi conspired with corrupt FBI agents to set a trap for those who dared to complain about the sabotaging of 71 million votes in the presidential election. The Democrats planted Antifa thugs and undercover FBI agents disguised as Trump supporters to act like violent animals so as to turn a peaceful and constitutional protest into a riot. The Capitol Police welcomed the protesters into the Capitol, even unlocking doors and ushering them in. The protesters were unaware they were walking into Nancy Pelosi's trap. Most of them wandered around the Capitol and then left. But soon Antifa and the dirty cops did as they were told to do and began smashing windows and screaming threats. The Capitol Police, for no apparent reason, began firing stun grenades into the peaceful crowd. The patriotic Americans shouted for the Capitol Police to stop those who were being violent, but they were ignored. Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed Air Force veteran, was trying to stop the violence when she was shot in the throat and killed by Capitol Police Officer Michael Byrd. The dirty Democrats then went full drama queen for months, exclaiming how they were nearly murdered in cold blood by violent Trump supporters, weeping on television at how frightened they were, and even declared that the violence of the Trump supporters was worse than 9/11. Then began the Gestapo-style arrests as corrupt FBI agents hunted down and arrested thousands of patriotic Americans, many of them simply because their cell phone data showed that they were in the area. That is nowhere near probable cause to make an arrest. They were all herded into left-wing Democrat courtrooms before hardcore Democrat judges who did not allow them to make a reasonable defense, as they were savagely prosecuted by the lawyers of the Democrat Party. The wrongly convicted Americans were then forced into a D.C. jail where they were brutally beaten and kept in solitary confinement for years. Several of the J6ers, as they came to be known, committed suicide in their cells. Sometimes they were not fed for 2 weeks. One man was beaten so badly in his cell by FBI agents he needed surgery to repair his shoulder. He petitioned the Democrat judge to let him get medical treatment, and she shouted, I will not grant you bail so you can get your shoulder fixed. The Democrat Party did these horribly unconstitutional things specifically to frighten the American people, to show us what happens to people who dare to oppose the criminality of the Democrat Party. And that is as Nazi as you can get. Swastikas are rising in America. According to Title 18 of the United States Criminal Code, what the Democrats did constitutes domestic terrorism, punishable by 25 years in prison. But of course, none of the dirty cops or scheming Democrats have been arrested or charged. Just like the Nazi thugs in Germany were never arrested or charged. Swastikas are rising in the USA. Just as the German church was silent about Hitler's criminal atrocities, so American churches are silent about the atrocities of the Democrat Party. Seriously, how many of you have heard American pastors challenging the injustice of the January 6th incident? American churches today are just as silent about political injustice as the German churches were in 1939 Germany. And it's time to challenge the Christian church in America to wake up and be the church. Again, please follow me on Rumble, as there will be more Swastikas Rising videos coming soon. And I will post them first on Rumble.